G'day folks, it's Cortezerino, and today I'm going to show you how to build my crimson and warped wood farm. And this one is a little different from many designs that you'll see tutorials for. This one does not use TNT to destroy the warped wood and the crimson wood. You have to harvest it manually. Now, I thought I was just being a little bit lazy when I designed this and built it in my single player world, but the requests for a tutorial started pouring in. It turns out a lot of people want a design that does not use TNT. And this is how it works. We've just got dispensers shooting bone meal down here at the netherrack, and we're trying to grow the mushrooms, but if we end up growing one of these stems, it'll just get pushed away by the piston and we'll have another chance to grow a mushroom. And if we do get one, it'll bone meal that, it'll grow a tree, and then it will start pushing everything along here. So we've got a nice big mass that we can just get in there and harvest. And you will get the occasional tall tree up there, but we're not even bothering to put pistons up there to push them across because we're just not going to get that many of them. So once it reaches the maximum limit of blocks that you can push it across, you don't actually need to turn it off yet. You can let it run for as long as you want and just keep growing more and more. You'll know when it's reached the maximum because there'll be a few blocks in there that you can see that aren't getting pushed over. But yeah, when you're ready, you can just come in here and switch him off. And we will switch over to survival so I can actually mine this a little bit faster. So if you've built it outside like I have, you can just fly up here with your elytra. If you've built it underground, you might want a little water elevator to get you up the top. And you can just come in here and harvest everything, and yeah, pretty simple. And of course you will get a bunch of these shroom lights out of the design. It does tend to throw some of these roots and stems all over the place, but we've also got some hoppers down the bottom here that collect it into a chest, so you can keep them or put them through a composter to bone meal them to have this ready to fill up our dispensers again. So it's very light on resources, guys. You will need an iron farm because there's a lot of hoppers, but other than that, it is pretty easy to build. Okay, let's get started. To begin, you want to mark out an area that is 11 blocks by 14. And you'll notice I've used some diamond blocks in there. That's just to say that it doesn't matter what block you mark it out with because we're never going to see them. But up the end here, you will need 11 target blocks. Then once you've done that, just behind our target blocks, we are going to dig out the ground 2 wide like that. And then we're going to dig down another block. Now, I've made this 11 blocks wide, but you could actually do it as small as you want, or even larger up to 15, because that's how far the redstone's going to go. So it's up to you, but we're doing an 11 block wide design. And then down inside this hole, we're just going to put a layer of your block of choice. So this could be stone bricks or whatever you like. I'm using the polished diorite. It's just for the sake of neatness. Now, looking from this direction here, I want you to look over to this corner and we're going to knock out 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks like so. And then you can replace the blocks in the ground with your block of choice. Now we're going to grab chests, and right in the middle here we're going to put a double chest, and then another double chest on top, and then just in this hole here, we're going to put 2 hoppers leading into the backs of them, just like that. And then looking over toward the other side here, we're going to knock out 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks right there, and then replace the blocks in the ground, and we'll also replace that block with our building block of choice, and this is where the on switch is going to go. So we'll put a lever there, then grab a comparator, and coming away from that block, we're going to put our comparator there, and then right click on it so that little light comes on. Now we're going to put dust around our comparator like that, and then we're going to run dust all the way to the end, and you'll notice it's going into each of those target blocks. And then you can also just scatter a few light blocks around here wherever you like, just to stop the mobs from spawning. Okay, I want you to grab an observer block, and we're going to come around to here, We're going to knock out that bit of dirt, and then next to our target block we're going to place the observer right there. So his little face is looking at that bit of redstone. Now we're going to grab some dispensers, not droppers, these are dispensers, and we're going to place one facing straight up on top of each of these target blocks. And then you can grab some hoppers, and on this side we're going to put a hopper leading into each of these. This is just to supply them with the bone meal. And while we've got the hoppers in hand, we might add another one facing straight down into that. Okay, come back over to our on lever, and just on the diagonal up here I want you to knock out that block and that one, and then we'll knock out the 4 behind it. And I'll put a light source in there, but for the other blocks we're just going to use our block of choice and fill them in. Now we're going to knock out that block, and we'll put a redstone torch on the block that the lever is on, and then we'll put a block on top of our torch. Now just behind this we're going to go 2 redstone dust like that, then 2 repeaters facing that direction, and we're going to put them on maximum delay, and then facing in the other direction 2 more repeaters, and we'll put those on maximum delay as well. Now right here we're going to put another block, and then we'll put a redstone torch right here. So you'll notice now if we switch off the lever, well, that clock starts and this clock will start up as well. So we'll turn that back off. Okay, so come along to this block here with the torch on it, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3 blocks like that, and we're going to put redstone dust on all 4 of those. Now we're going to put another block here, but just 1 block up from the ground. So temporary block, block on top, and break that one. And then grab a trapdoor and place it right there, and because it's getting powered it will close straight away. So now we're going to use scaffolding. So we're going to place 1 scaffolding here, and then you'll have to jump up on top of it, and looking in that direction we're going to place another scaffolding. So now it's sitting on top of the trapdoor. So on top of this one that's on the trapdoor we're going to add 13 more scaffolding. Just like that, so 13 more up in the air, and if you include the other 2 you should have placed 15 scaffolding. So now I want you to come along to these hoppers leading into our dispensers. We'll place 1 facing straight down right there, and then we're just going to run a line of them across like this, so all running into there. So when our bone meal runs along it'll get collected in those. So where we're going to finish is just above this chest right on the end. Then you can grab a barrel and place it on top of that hopper. We'll put another one facing straight down into the barrel, and then we'll put a double chest just like that. Okay, so grab an observer block and come over to our bit of scaffolding here that's on top of the trapdoor, and we're just going to place our observer right there so it's looking at the scaffolding. So every time this trapdoor flicks you're going to get a little bit of power coming through that. So behind this observer we're going to put 11 target blocks, so they should be matching up with the target blocks we've got below. And then we need a line of blocks just here, so we'll put a temporary one underneath that target block, one there, break that, and we'll just put a line of blocks behind those, and then we'll put a bit of redstone dust on top of each of these. Now I want you to swing around to this side, grab some pistons and just place 1 against each of these target blocks. And now is a good time to test if that's working. I just want you to flick the trapdoor and all of those pistons should fire. And while we're at it, we might as well just turn on the whole thing and make sure that the pistons are firing every few seconds. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our netherrack, and we're going to put a line of it down in front of our dispensers here. So I'm using the crimson nylium here, but you can also use the blue stuff, and then just whenever you want to change it over to make the other kind of wood, you just get in here and replace it. And then what you want to do is just on top of our dispensers we're going to put a second line of it. This is just in case the nylium disappears and it turns into netherrack. As soon as it's bone mealed, the nylium from down here will spread onto that. Then you can grab some hoppers, and you see this one sticking up here. we're just going to run a line of hoppers all the way along in front of this, just like so. Now grab some blocks, and what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 blocks of choice right there, with one on top next to the hopper, and then just a light block here. It can be anything you like. I'm using sea lanterns, and then we're just going to run all 4 of them along until we reach the end of our nylium here. So just keep building all of these across. And these light blocks are optional. I just like to put a whole bunch in there because they look nice and they'll stop any beasties from spawning on this machine when we're not using it. So in the spirit of that, we're going to continue with our light blocks, and this is actually optional. We're going to build a little platform out here. It's just something to stand on when we're harvesting the bottom layer of our wood. So I'm going to place 9 light blocks coming from there, and another 9 right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we'll just connect them. And then using your block of choice, just fill in the gap in the middle. Okay, so now we're going to come over to this observer block right here, and just behind it we're going to knock out 3 blocks in the ground and add 3 more observers, just so they are all facing in the same direction as the first one. Now grab 4 more observers, and just on top of this last one, looking down, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to put 11 of them just above these sea lanterns. So we're just going to run them all the way across like so. Now come along to this side, maybe stand on top of your pistons, and we're just going to add 11 of them all the way along like so. Now grab another light block. Now this one cannot be sea lanterns, it cannot be glowstone, it has to be a light block that will conduct redstone. So you could use the shroom lights, but then when you're harvesting you sort of risk knocking them out. So I'm using jack-o'-lanterns right there. And then what you want to do is come down here on your nylium, and we want to put a dispenser against each of these light blocks, but the dispenser needs to be looking down. So just crouch and just find the right spot and place it like that. So it's pointing down at our nylium. So just go ahead and put in 11 of these. Just like that, guys, they should all be facing straight down. And don't worry that they're just above where our trees are going to grow, because the trees will actually grow straight through them. It's a really cool feature of these plants. So now what I want you to do is come along here, and you can see a line of dispensers right here. What we're going to do, probably put yourself on the redstone, hold shift, and we're going to put 2 hoppers in a straight line right here. So both of them are leading into that dispenser. So just keep doing that for all 11 of them. And once you've done that, grab 11 hoppers. We're going to place our first one leading sideways into that double chest, and then just go ahead and place the other 10 all in a straight line, all facing in the same direction, just like that. Okay, with 8 more hoppers, I want you to place 2 facing sideways into those hoppers there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go a glass block, and then 2 hoppers, glass, 2 hoppers, glass, and 2 hoppers, just like that. Now on top of the 2 hoppers we just placed in each of these, we are going to put double chests on top, and this is for putting in our bone meal. And the reason we've got so many entry points for our bone meal is there's a lot of hoppers and a lot of dispensers in this design, and if you just have one chest to put it in, it's going to take forever to filter all the way through. So we're using 4 lines of them here, and then we're just going to make a little platform to stand on when we're filling up our bone meal. You can do this however you like. I'm going to put 2 glass on the end of that hopper, 2 glass on the end of this one. We'll put a little bit of light in. I'll put a sea lantern there. And we'll go 1, 2, 3 glass, sea lantern on the end. Same here, 1, 2, 3, sea lantern. And then I'm just going to fill in this entire area with glass. So we've got a nice little platform and nothing's going to spawn on it. So once again, that is completely up to you how you want to do your platform. But what we're also going to do is on this double chest on the left, we're going to add a bunch more double chests to this one, because this is the one we want to have loaded up with tons of bone meal. So I'm just going to add 4 more chests to the top of this one. So just running hoppers into the side, and then putting a double chest on top. Okay, so once you've done this, go ahead and fill these all up with bone meal and let them start filtering into all our dispensers. And if you've filled up all of these chests, that will be enough to fill up all our dispensers. But then you want to load them all up again, so we've got lots of bone meal ready to go for when we start using the farm. Okay, so grab your block of choice again, and what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and on top of each of these hoppers we're going to put one of our blocks, and then we're going to run a line of redstone all the way along like so. Now we're going to place some pistons, and the easiest way to do this in survival is stand on top of your pistons here. We'll place one like that, and then another one on top. So just keep doing a double layer of pistons just like that until you get all the way along. So you would have placed 2 lines of 11. So now what we're going to do is just repeat this pattern going all the way up. But you'll notice this one, there's no observer block looking at the scaffolding, but on the one we're about to do now, we are going to put the observer block right there. So we'll just put the observer block in, and then 11 blocks behind it, and we will put redstone dust on top of each of these. So this observer is going to power this line of redstone, but it's also powering the one below. That's why we don't need an observer there. And then you can just go ahead and do your double layer of pistons once again. And then the same thing, but this time we don't need the observer block, so we'll just put a block right there. 11 across. I think you get the idea. Let's speed this up a little bit. And then on the final level, when we reach that very top bit of scaffolding, just have your observer there, your line of blocks, but you can stop right there. You don't need the extra piston on top. So if you look at it when you're done, you should have 3 of these observer blocks looking at the wall. 4 if you count the first one we placed there, but 1, 2, 3 going all the way up just like so. Okay, the next step is probably optional as well, but I think it's a really good idea. We're just going to place a bunch of glass in here so that when we grow a tree, it's not going to just balloon out everywhere and make an absolute mess. So come over to where we've got our pillar of observers here. We're going to put a bit of glass there, and then we're going to go 2, 4, 6, and 8 just along the bottom. And we're going to build this up to the height of our top observer there. So just keep placing all of these in. And I might also place one on top of that observer block. And we'll just fill all that in like so. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I want you to start right here. We're going to go 2 glass, another 2, and then 1, 2, 3 like that. And we're just going to build this up. So we'll put one on top of that chest right there as well. And we'll just continue building this up. Now we get to here. We can also put one on top of the hopper. 1 there. And 3 across. And then we'll just keep going until we reach the height of our observers. Now I also want you to come along here. And we're going to go 1, 2. 1, 2 there. And we'll repeat that just below it. 1, 2. And 1, 2 right there. So this... not only does it stop all the bushes and branches growing out in this direction, but it'll also help keep all those little crimson stems and stuff from flying out all over the place. Okay, so the next step is to just continue with this glass all the way up. So you can see here we're going to cover up the top of that chest and just keep building this up. So it's a lot of glass, but it will make sure that our machine is nice and clean once we start using it. So keep building that up until it reaches 2 blocks above our pistons and redstone right here. And we're also going to do the same on this side. So you can come in here and fill up these gaps right here just above our observer blocks like so. So keep doing that all the way up. Once again, reaching 2 blocks above our machine there. and then this glass right here. So place one on top of that observer. Just build that all the way up as well. So when you're done, you should be looking like that. It's a lot of glass, but it is a whole lot neater than having those things grow all over the place. But what they'll also do is they'll grow one block behind our redstone here. So what we're going to do is just run this glass all the way along up here. So you can put them directly above the chests. You can still open the chests, but just go ahead and fill in all these gaps around our chests like this. Just like so. And once again, just build this wall all the way up. So when you're done, you should be looking like this. So the whole thing there is encased in glass. And don't worry if you had trouble following exactly where I was saying to place it. You'll know as soon as you turn the machine on. If you get leaves popping out in weird areas, just break them and replace them with glass and you'll soon fix it all up. So the next thing we're going to do is on top of these pistons right here, we're going to put a line of glass and then we'll put another line of glass all the way along here. Keeps the machine nice and clean, and if you're flying in with a elytra, gives you somewhere safe to land. And believe it or not, guys, we are done. And then just go ahead and test the whole thing. This one doesn't have any bone meal in it at the moment, but we'll be able to see all of our pistons firing, and we'll be able to hear all our dispensers firing as well. So go ahead, load it up with bone meal. It takes a long time for it to flood through the system, but once you're done, you can start harvesting. So that's it, guys. That is how to build my crimson and warped wood farm. I don't do many redstone tutorials anymore, but yeah, there were just too many requests to ignore that one. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. I'm Cortezerino. I'll see you later.